Yeah. Good morning, all of you. I am Srikanth from ISL Engineering College, Department of ECE, and we are going with a fourth session of the analog communication subject. So here in this subject, in the first unit, what we have is we have the use of modulation, and we have the topic called need of the modulation. So let us try to understand about these two in detail. Now, what is the basic use of modulation? What is modulation? The general meaning of modulation. What is the meaning of modulation? Meaning of modulation is known as regulation or change, or I can say change is known as modulation. That means we are going to regulate something with respect to something. So that means here, what is that we are going to regulate, or what is that we are going to change? We are changing the characteristics of the carrier signal with respect to the amplitude variations of the message signal is known as the modulation. So the definition of modulation, that is very important for us in the entire subject. Whenever you normally deal with analog communications, there won't be any paper without asking for a definition of the modulation. So what is modulation? Definition: modulation is the process of changing the characteristics of the carrier signal with respect to the amplitude variations of the message signal. Or we can just simply say another way around, the use of the definition of modulation. What is the definition of modulation? Is the process of regulating the one of the characteristics or characteristics of the high frequency carrier signal with respect to the instantaneous amplitude variations of the message signal is known as the modulation. Now, what is the use of modulation? There are three things involved here. One is definition of modulation, the next is use of the modulation. What is the use of modulation? The modulation is normally used to transform the low frequency signal into a high frequency signal. So that is why we normally use this particular modulation. So use of modulation is to transform low frequency message signal into a high frequency signal. That is called use of the modulation. So after we understand about definition of modulation and use of modulation, we have to understand another important point, that is the basic need of the modulation. What is the basic need of modulation apart from this usage of the modulation? We understand that modulation is normally used to transmit the signal to a longer distances. Now, apart from this, what is the basic need of modulation? So as far as the communication system, analog communication system is concerned, what is the need of the modulation? So need of modulation in terms of the communication system. When I speak about definition of modulation, it is general, more general. When I say use of modulation, it is going to be a more general definition. When I say need of modulation, what is the meaning of need of modulation? Need of modulation in terms of the analog communication system. When you think about a system, what is that you have to think? You have to think all the components or elements involved in the system. Then only we say it is a system. Let us say, imagine you say a computer system. When do you say a computer system? Computer system is a system which contains CPU, memory, input-output devices, and all other peripherals connected to it. It is known as a computer system. Similarly here, we go with the analog communication system. When I speak about a system, I have to speak about all the elements involved in this particular system. So as far as the entire analog communication system is concerned, what is the need of modulation? When I say analog communication system, what are the blocks involved in the communication system? Information source, transmitter, channel, receiver, and then detector. So these are the various blocks involved in the communication system. One more thing is their noise block is also there, which is added external to the channel. So that is what one more block which we normally going to have are used in the communication process. Now we have to write a short notes on need of modulation. So this need of modulation is with respect to the analog communication system, entire communication system, analog communication system, we have to write the need of the modulation. So why we need this modulation as far as communication system is concerned? So there are 4 to 5 basic usage or importance of using the modulation. Among them, the first one is going to be height of the antenna, height of the transmitting and receiving antenna. So what is the height of the antenna? So the design of the antenna says that the height of the antenna is equal to the height of the antenna we can write as equal to 1/4 of the wavelength, that is lambda by 4. So we have to get the value of lambda of the wave, then by 4 if you do, you normally going to get height of the transmitting antenna. Now if you use a low frequency signal, low frequency, what are the low frequencies that we have now? I can just take some 300 Hz signal as a low frequency signal, because that comes under extremely low frequency. So if I take 300 signal, now what we can have it here to get a lambda now? Lambda is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 by 300 is the signal frequency. So 3 will get cancelled. We get how much? 10 power 6. So 10 power 6 by 4. So 10 power 6 by 4 means it's going to be 100 into 10 power 4 by 4. So it's going to be 25. 25 into 10 power 4 means what? 250 kilometers. So 250 kilometers should be the height of the antenna that I have to use. To transmit a signal frequency of 300 Hz, we have to use a height of the antenna as 250 kilometers. That means vertically you have to lay an antenna which is of 250 kilometers height. So the antenna of 250 kilometers height is highly impractical in the practical situations. So that is why next thing is what now? We have to increase the frequency. Sorry. When you increase the frequency, what you are going to have? Say height of the antenna h is equal to, let us try to take the highest frequency in terms of gigahertz. Say I mean to say 3 gigahertz I will take. So therefore I can take lambda. Now what is the value of lambda there? Lambda is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 is the velocity of light, and frequency I will take as 3 gigahertz. 3 into 10 power 9 I will take. That's better always. 3 in 10 power 9 I will take. So these 3 will get cancelled. So here I will be having 1 over here. That means I will be having lambda is equal to how much? 1 by 10. I will be getting lambda is equal to 1 by 10. So 1 by 10 means what? 0.1 meters. 0.1 meters by 4 means what? 0.25 meters. So the height of the antenna is equal to 0.25 meters. So the height of the antenna of 0.25 meters is highly practicable, highly imaginable. You can always consider a very small antenna. That means if you increase the frequency of transmitted signal, you can reduce the height of the antenna. That means the height of the antenna is highly affected by the frequency range. Well, now height of the antenna is decided by the frequency of the signal that we are normally going to transmit. More the frequency of the signal that we are transmitting, less is going to be the height of the antenna. That means the antenna height becomes practicable as you increase the frequency of the signal. So therefore the height of the antenna is going to be one of the necessity reason why we have to use the modulation. That means to have a reasonable height of the antenna, we have to employ the modulation. That is one of the need of going for modulation in the analog communication system. So the height of the antenna, since height of antenna is going to be practicable if you increase the frequency, okay, therefore I am using the modulation. Increasing frequency can be done by using modulation. That is what the basic need of the modulation. The next one is going to be radiated power by a transmitting antenna. Now whenever I think about a radiating power of a transmitting antenna, this radiating power PR is proportional to 1 by lambda square. That means the radiated power is inversely proportional to square of the wavelength of a wave that we are transmitting. So that means as the wavelength, see here, as the frequency increases, what is that we are really looking into? As the frequency increases, wavelength is decreasing. So as the wavelength is decreasing, what is that radiated power? Radiated power is also going to be really, I need not use more radiated power. That means with less radiated power, I can able to radiate more amount of signal. That means if at all you wanted to radiate a signal with high power, then the cost of the system is normally going to increase drastically. So if you want to radiate less power, the cost is normally going to reduce. So therefore the power radiated is going to be very high for high frequency signals. So power radiated can be really improved by increasing the frequency of the signal. So the increasing frequency we are doing by using a modulation. So therefore, thereby in order to address this power radiation of a electronic system, we are using this particular modulation. The next important point is going to be multiplexing. Now what is multiplexing? Multiplexing we already know in the case of the digital electronic subject. So multiplexing means many to one. When you have many signals in the input side, you wanted to transform them into a single channel. What we will do now? We simply apply the concept called multiplexing. We simply apply the concept called multiplexing. So that is what important thing we have. Right. So now as the need of modulation, we have discussed about height of the antenna. So the height of the antenna is normally going to be practicable when you go with a modulation. The next point is the radiated power of a antenna is also going to be very good when you are normally going to increase the frequency of the transmitted signal by the process of modulation. Because of this radiated power, also we normally need a modulation. The next point is known as multiplexing. What is multiplexing? Imagine there is a multiplexer here like this. So we have many signal sources. All the signal sources can be transmitted via a single channel. This is a channel, for example. There is a single channel. So all these sources, say F1, F2, F3, F4 frequency signals are there. All these frequencies I want to transmit through a single channel. Now why we are employing this modulation, multiplexing? This multiplexing, the technique of multiplexing is employed to avoid inter-channel interference. This is a very important point for us. See why? Because we are already experiencing in every day in our cellular mobile communications. All the people's frequency range lies between 0.3 kilohertz to 3 kilohertz. That is the voice frequency range. That is the frequency range of the voice. The frequency range of the voice is always lies between 0.3 k to 3 kilohertz worldwide. Now how many mobile phones are there? For how many people we are getting the service? Whoever will buy a mobile phone, he is going to get a service. But what is the problem? Every human being is normally going to radiate a voice signal ranging between 0.3 k to 3 kilohertz. Now if that many people are radiating through a single channel, what will happen? These signals will get invariably mixed up, and because of that, what will happen? We normally cannot receive the actual desired signal at the receiver because of the mixing of all these signals. To avoid this, we normally go with a multiplexing. Now what type of multiplexing is preferred for analog communication? It is called as FDMA, frequency division multiple access technique. So we use FDMA technique to simply merge all these frequencies into and transmit them through a single channel. That means what we do now, we simply allot some other frequencies to F1. Now all these F1, F2, F3, F4 are the voice signals ranging between same frequency range. Now since I cannot transmit all of them as it is without modulation, what I am doing now, I am simply transforming this into another frequency range. Say for example, this I am transforming this into 93.5 megahertz range. Now this signal I am transmitting into 93.6 megahertz range. This I will transform into 93.7 megahertz range. This I will transform into 93.8 megahertz signal. If you don't bother about God bands, so ideally what we can have now, 93.5 is allotted for F1, 93.6 is allotted for F2, 93.7 is allotted for F3. So like this, the given spectrum is divided into many spectrums where each one, F1 is given to this, F2, F3 and F4. So like this. Now using this process of multiplexing, what we are doing now, we are simply allotting different high frequencies to different message signals. Now all these message signals are coming with same frequency range. That is why we are giving different frequency range for different input message signals. So F1 is allotted with 93.5 megahertz and F2 is allotted with 93.4 megahertz. F3 is allotted with 93 point, this is 93.7 megahertz. Now with this, what we are achieving now, these signals will not interfere with each other because these are all different frequencies. So since we have converted the same range frequencies into different frequencies because of the process of modulation using multiplexing technique, so this multiplexing can be done very easily if we employ the technique called modulation in the analog communication. That is what one of the important reason why we use multiplexing. So that means, what is the use of multiplexing? Multiplexing is used to avoid the inter-channel interference. Now what do you mean by a channel in analog communication? Channel is nothing but the range of frequencies which we use to transmit a signal is known as the channel for us. So this F1 has got a range, F2 has got a range, F3 has got a range. Now since we are normally using a range of frequency to transmit, we simply call this F1 as one channel, F2 as another channel, F3 as one more channel. So we are transmitting 3 different channels via the same single media. So therefore, by employing this multiplexing technique, we normally avoid inter-channel interference. This multiplexing is possible if we employ the modulation technique. So that is what one of the need for going with modulation. The next important point is high bandwidth. What is high bandwidth? What do you mean by bandwidth? What is bandwidth? Please recover your memory, refresh your memory for getting bandwidth. In AEC subject we discussed about bandwidth. So already I have discussed bandwidth is equal to some F2 minus F1. What is F2? Upper cutoff frequency, F1 is lower cutoff frequency. That means range of frequencies over which we transmit the signal is known as bandwidth of the signal. What about bandwidth of channel? The range of frequencies over which the channel can transmit or channel can process the signal is known as the channel bandwidth. Okay, both of them are going to be same. So bandwidth is nothing but range of frequencies. So what about high bandwidth? Due to modulation we can have higher bandwidth. That means because of the technique called modulation, I can start using signal frequencies from 30 Hz to around 30 terahertz. So I can transmit signals in this range, in this wide range of signals I can transmit. That means the bandwidth can be increased drastically. As you increase the bandwidth, what is the advantage? You can increase the capacity of the system, you can increase the number of channels, you can increase the number of services. Okay, so because of high bandwidth we are able to accommodate so many users. The simple example, best example is cellular mobile communication. In the cellular mobile communication the number of cell phones are increasing, but still the communication is happening. Why it is happening? Due to high bandwidth. Because of high bandwidth this particular thing is normally going to be there. And the last one which we can have is the narrow band. Another need is going to be narrow band signal frequency. Narrow band means what? Very small band. Say for example, if this is the frequency axis, if this is the amplitude axis, so only in this frequency we are going to normally transmit this. That's called narrow band of frequencies. So what is this narrow banding means? What? Limited frequency range we normally going to have. This narrow banding is achieved. See, if you observe carefully, our voice signal frequency is, say for example, let us hold on around 3 kilohertz is the voice signal frequency. Voice signal frequency. See the actual range. What is the actual range of voice bandwidth? Voice signal bandwidth. What is this bandwidth? It ranges between 3 kilohertz to 0.3 kilohertz. So it will be coming around 2.7 kilohertz. So that is the bandwidth of the voice signal. Now if you consider all these voice signals, it comes to be a multi-tone signal. If we consider only one frequency in this voice range, it simply comes down to be a single tone modulating signal. So here initially we go with only single tone, we don't go with a multi-tone modulation. So in a single tone, let us suppose one message signal frequency we are going to use for single tone. If we use one signal frequency for a single tone, now what is the portion of this low frequency in the high frequency range? Say for example, this signal I am transmitting at a frequency of 93.7 megahertz. Now what is the portion of this in this very small portion? That means we are simply narrowing the signal. So by employing this narrow bandwidth mechanism, we normally going to fulfill the need of transmitting the signal to longer distances. So these are all the basic these are all the points which are very much important, or reasons why we need the modulation. So for first point is what? Height of the antenna. For need of modulation, height of the antenna, radiated power of the transmitting antenna, multiplexing, and high bandwidth and narrow bandwidth. So these are all the various needs of going into modulation. Now after we discuss about need of modulation, the last objective is that we have to analyze the modulated signal. Now we have two parts in the syllabus. One is modulation, another one is demodulation. What is modulation? We just discussed. Where the modulation is going to happen? Modulation is going to happen in the transmitter. What is demodulator? Reverse of modulation is demodulation. Where it will happen? It will happen at the receiver. So we have transmitter, channel and receiver. In transmitter we perform operation called modulation. In receiver we perform operation called demodulation. Now what we have in the syllabus? We have to analyze the working of a modulator and a demodulator. Now how do we analyze? We analyze in terms of time domain and we analyze in terms of frequency domain. To analyze in terms of frequency domain, we should understand some of these important properties. So I have listed around few properties here. 4 properties here. These 4 properties we normally going to use continuously in the analysis of the analog communication systems. One is going to be first property. What is the first property? Please recollect them. You need not derive anything here. All these Fourier transforms has to be remembered better, because we never get time in the exam to derive these Fourier transforms. If you could not do so, if you could not remember very well, then you have to derive definitely. Otherwise, if you could able to remember them, it is always better. Try to better remember some of the important formulas. Around 4 to 5 formulas will be there. That formulas you remember. Once you remember those formulas, then you can simply apply those formulas to analyze the modulator and demodulator circuit. So the first property, what is this first property? Time shifting property. We are putting a shift in the time domain. The time shifting property will be viewed in the frequency domain as simply multiplying with respect to the exponential component. Now here this is going to be plus, here also going to be plus. So that means if you have a delay in the signal here, you are also going to have a delay in the signal here. If you have a advancement here, you are going to have advancement in the signal here. Then next, if you have a shift in the frequency domain, how are you going to see in the time domain? Simply multiplication of the complex component of e power j omega naught t. If the frequency omega is shifted by omega naught, what is omega? We already know what is omega. Omega is equal to 2 pi f. So that is omega is proportional to f, that is frequency. So therefore omega is nothing but frequency. Basically omega is angular frequency, but it is dependent on frequency. So if there is a shift in the frequency of f naught, now the amount of same shift will be seen as multiplication of the signal with respect to the exponential component. But in opposite sign, the phase is normally going to be different here. It is minus, if it is minus here, it will be plus here. That means if the signal here is shifted towards right, delayed signal, then you are going to have advancement here, right? Here this advancement means delayed over here. So like this, you have to remember this form. That means if you say x of t into e power plus j omega t, then you normally going to have a x of omega minus omega naught. So like that, we normally going to write the property which is known as the frequency shifting property. First one is the time shifting property, frequency shifting property, and multiplication property. What is multiplication property? When you multiply two signals in time domain, how are you going to see? You simply see them as 1 by 2 pi times the convolution of two signals in the frequency domain. So that means you have to find out individually the Fourier transform of x of t, Fourier transform of y of t. Then simply you have to convolute. After you convolute, you normally going to get the equivalent value for this particular multiplication. The next one is duality property for delta of t tends to 1. delta of t tends to 1. Now when you apply this duality property, this 1 is normally going to give us a 2 pi delta of omega. That means you are normally going to get impulse function. Impulse function is an even function, that is why delta of minus omega is the basic property, and we can write this as delta of omega. So when you write half of this, we get pi of delta of omega. So this is what the properties which we have to understand before we normally start going with the analysis of the modulations. So in the next class, from next class, we start going with time domain and frequency domain analysis of the AM modulator. Thank you. So next class onwards, go with